I'm sharing with friends today. I want you all to listen carefully because this experience is another story that I've never told friends before. It's a scary, horrifying story about the profession of a Waterworks employee. Hearing that, friends are probably wondering how the profession of a Waterworks employee could be related to a scary, horrifying story. Right, well, that's why it's an interesting story. I want friends to listen to this story carefully. I guarantee it will be fun for sure. But before we listen to this story, please help like this clip to encourage me a bit. Let's enjoy it together and let's listen to this story. This email was sent by Mr. Chat. It's a direct experience that happened 6 years ago. Mr. Chat told me that he himself is a Waterworks employee, stationed in an area in a province in the northeast. Mr. Chat has been working at the Waterworks for many years. He is responsible for maintaining and repairing water pipes as reported through complaints. He has gone through many work experiences, each of which is considered tough work. No matter how difficult the job is, he and his team can solve problems quickly. But there was one job that took a long time to finish. To clear the job, it gave goosebumps throughout. This story happened in one job. In that job, Mr. Chat remembered that he received a report from people in the area that the water was not flowing, causing many houses in that alley to suffer greatly. When checking the work schedule, it was found that the reported area did not have any plan to repair the water pipes. This made him immediately know that there must be a problem with a water pipe somewhere that was broken or leaking. When that was the case, Mr. Chat and another friend who were on the evening shift hurried out from the office and went straight to the site immediately. The time then was around 6 p.m. While they were driving, his friend looked at the information and told Mr. Chat that citizens had reported that the water had not been flowing since the afternoon. If it's not repaired by tonight, it could lead to big problems. Looking at the map for the water pipe layout, both of them predicted that the point where the water pipe was broken or leaking should be from a nearby side alley. So Mr. Chat changed the destination and traveled to the suspicious point immediately. When driving into that alley, he said he felt strange because the alley was pitch dark with only flickering street lights, making the atmosphere seem creepy. It's hard to describe. While driving in, it was noticeable that although both sides of the road were full of houses, many houses were quietly closed, not turning on lights, with no signs of houses with people living in them. He himself didn't think much about it. He didn't pay much attention to the atmosphere happening around him, intending to hurry to finish the work because the villagers in that area were waiting. After that, he and his friend got out of the car and walked to check various areas until finally they found the suspicious point of this leak. The point that both of them predicted to be the point that needed to be fixed was located on the main road, in front of one house. This house looked like other houses in the alley, different only in that the house itself looked dilapidated. The walls had cracks, and vines were growing up to the second floor. Just looking with the eyes, it was immediately known that this house was definitely an abandoned house. Mr. Chat and his friend started digging to check the water pipe. And after digging for a while, the assumption of both of them was as expected because the main water pipe next to the fence of this house was strange and had a large hole, causing the houses in this area to have no water flow almost entirely. In that situation, they had no choice but to hurry to repair, even though they felt that the atmosphere around was very uncomfortable. Mr. Chat and his friend walked to get tools from the trunk of the car, then started repairing the water pipe immediately. It was a very strange thing that while they were repairing the water pipe, in the alley where many people's houses were located, no citizen came out to look or show interest in the work they were doing. The whole alley was still silent, with only Mr. Chat and his friend working, just the two of them. So Mr. Chat kept his head down, working without paying attention to anything. But during that time, suddenly there was a strange sound coming from inside the house. Thud thud, thud thud. The sound heard was like someone dragging something heavy, coming from inside. Because the sound was quite loud, it made Mr. Chat stop the work he was doing and look up at the source of the sound he heard. What he saw at that time was that the old and dilapidated wooden front door of the house now seemed to be moving and slowly opening wider by itself. Seeing that, Mr. Chat quickly turned to ask his friend if he heard strange sounds and saw the door opening or not. But it seemed his friend didn't pay much attention to what Mr. Chat asked. His friend still kept his head down, continuing to work, and told Mr. Chat not to pay attention to those things. It might be caused by wind or anything, to hurry back to finish the work so they could leave this point soon. But after his friend finished speaking, before they could do anything else, both of them jumped because suddenly there was a laughing sound coming from the second floor of the house. That sound was the laughter of a woman, a hoarse and creepy voice that made Mr. Chat feel numb all over. While he and his friend were still shocked by the mysterious laughter, a window on the second floor was pushed and opened immediately. The force of the rapid opening caused the glass of that window to come loose and fall to the ground below. That glass pane hit the cement floor and shattered with a loud echo throughout the area. Mr. Chat jumped back in shock. He quickly turned to his friend and immediately asked what to do, saying he thought there was something strange. At that point, his friend seemed to feel the same, but because he didn't want to abandon the work, the friend just told Mr. Chat not to pay attention and to continue working until finished. But Mr. Chat himself admitted that he no longer had the concentration to continue working. He felt scared and worried about everything, not knowing what they were encountering at this time. But the scariness didn't end there, because after that, just a few minutes passed. Suddenly there was a heavy footstep sound inside the house again. Thud thud. It was a sound like someone was running down the stairs from the second floor to the ground floor. That sound was clear and getting closer to them, as if the mysterious sound that was ringing was about to rush out to them. Mr. Chat and his friend were very shocked and scared. They could only stand still, their eyes fixed on the front door of the house. That sound went quiet, leaving only the eerie atmosphere around them. But before they could relax, something unexpected happened. The front door of this house slowly opened wider than before and opened slowly. When that happened, Mr. Chat and his friend didn't wait to see more. Both of them dropped their tools and ran back to the car immediately, intending to hurry away from this point as fast as possible. Not caring about anything, they jumped into the car. Mr. Chat turned the key to start the engine, then accelerated until the wheels spun freely, making a screeching sound on the road as the car was moving out. It was at the same moment that his friend turned to look at the front door of that house. The image he saw made his friend so scared he almost stopped breathing. The front door of the house that was wide open revealed the figure of a woman. She was dressed in a long white nightgown, covered with red liquid stains all over. She stood tilting her head, staring at the friend who turned to make eye contact with her. But the scariest thing was that her neck didn't look like a normal person's neck because it was tilted to the left side, almost touching her shoulder, with a severe wound that almost made the whole neck and body separate from each other. Seeing that, his friend screamed out loud, only saying one word, "Hurry, hurry, hurry." In shock, both of them drove out without knowing where they were going. They came back to their senses when they arrived back at the office. When they got back, they hurried to tell the incident to their boss. The boss looked at them with a serious face before telling both of them that he had heard about that abandoned house before. There was a scary, horrifying incident that happened. It used to be a house where a husband and wife lived together. But one day, for some unknown reason, suddenly the husband used a large knife to attack his wife. The force of the attacker combined with the sharpness of the knife caused the woman to die at the scene immediately. After committing the act, the husband hurriedly fled, leaving his wife's body like that. It wasn't until several days passed that someone found what had happened. The incident created great fear for people in the alley. Not only that, because many people started to encounter strange events, whether it was mysterious sounds coming from inside the house in the evening of every day. On some nights in the middle of the night, they saw the woman who died standing at the window on the second floor of the house. When encountering this more and more often, it made many houses in the alley start to be unable to stay and moved out completely. After hearing the whole story, it made Mr. Chat and his friend, who were already very scared, even more creeped out. The extremely scary experience that happened still remains in their memory, making Mr. Chat and his friend very afraid of abandoned houses and never daring to work near abandoned houses again. And that's the whole story I picked up to tell you today. I would like to thank this email from Mr. Chat here as well. How was it, friends, after listening to this story? What do you think? Personally, I have the opinion that, as I told friends at the beginning, this is the first time I've had the opportunity to tell a scary experience about the profession of a Waterworks employee. When I first read this email, I couldn't imagine that the Waterworks employees we see would have the opportunity to encounter such scary, horrifying stories. It is therefore proof and emphasizes well that scary stories like this can happen to people of all genders, ages, and professions. Friends, don't worry that one day it will be our turn or not. Things like this, if you're going to encounter it, you'll encounter it anyway. What about you, friends? After listening to this story, how do you feel and what do you think? Comment and let me know. If any friends have scary, horrifying experiences and want me to convey them for other friends to hear like this, send your super creepy experiences to the email below. Before we part, please help like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell to encourage this small channel. Thank you for following and watching until now. See you next trip. Goodbye.